How many years experience does a senior project manager have? Good question. When people ask me how many years experience does a senior project manager have, while it's a decent question, it's not a great question. And let me explain to you why. A new friend, the benefit of doing interviews and things like that is you get to meet the most amazing people. A new friend is a senior project manager, and she is quite young by some accounts. But you see, it's not the years of experience that make Jazz a great senior project manager. It's the dedication, the talent, and the commitment that she brings to her role, not just as a project manager, but as a leader of teams. That's what makes her a senior project manager at a fairly young age, biologically. So it's a combination of things. One, it's how you apply yourself to the projects that you are managing. Are you demonstrating clearly your level of competence, not just as a project manager, but also as a project leader? Are you surprising your leadership team on a too regular basis? Because you know what? Well, let's put it this way. One of my favorite bosses, a wonderful, just genial Texan who actually wasn't only about 2 inches taller than I was, so apparently not all Texans are tall, told me when I first started working for him, Gamey, he said, you got one job here that is always going to be paramount. You make sure I never get surprised. That was it. I remember waiting to see what else he wanted and having him say, I'll send you over the technical stuff later, but that's your job one. I said, okay, job one. And by that, may I point out that Riley meant either good or bad surprises. So one of the things that you want to keep an eye on isn't just how you manage the project and lead your teams. It's also how you manage the relationships with all of the other key stakeholders. That's a big deal. Okay. Two, doesn't always have to be the biggest project, but it helps a whole lot if it's the most strategic project. In another video lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about how portfolio management and project management match up together, but I'm going to leave you with this. If your project is small but mighty, in other words, it contributes in a huge fashion to the organization's strategic objectives, handle that beautifully, handle that well. That is a senior project management responsibility. May not seem obvious at first. Unless, of course, you've heard a couple of our other video lessons on making sure that you know what the hint, hint, strategic objective your project matches up to. Then you'll have a good sense of the strategic value of the output of your project. So that's a couple of things. And yes, I mentioned other videos because we do have, it's getting to be a pretty large library, by the way, other videos, including topics like the relationship between strategic portfolio management and project management, and obviously project leadership. So if you like the things that you've been hearing from us, please like, subscribe, that would be awesome. And if you think, well, this topic sounds like it might be something that KSP and leadership-driven project management are interested in, but it's not on a list of videos yet, let us know. It's probably on the shooting list, the shooting schedule rather. But if you really want it, we'll move it up the schedule, okay? Oh, okay. Back to senior project managers and how many years of experience they need. You're going to need a couple, obviously. For one thing, most people don't start out managing incredibly strategic projects at the beginning of their career. But what they can do is they can be the leads on those projects. There is no dignity lost if you're a project manager and you see an awesome opportunity to contribute to your organization's strategic goals by serving as a lead on somebody else's team. That I think is one of the epitomes of being a team player. Also, kind of think about it this way. If that person is leading a hugely strategic project, might there be a few things to learn? Might you not actually be putting yourself in the position of having an amazing new mentor? So think about that a little bit, okay? So number one, always be very clear about where in the strategy hierarchy, where in the priority list your current projects land you. Number two, manage not just the project, but the relationships and the levels of expectation of all of your key stakeholders. You need visibility, and you need to demonstrate your level of comfort with that level of visibility. I'm sure that there are a lot of project managers who are amazing at their jobs, who quietly do their jobs. And thank God they do. If you truly want to become a senior project manager, understand that means you're going to be taking on bigger projects with higher levels of strategic importance. And that's not something that people want to give to someone who looks like they would freeze in terror at having to deliver a status update to the senior leadership team, or who keeps sending in delegates to do discussions on technical risks and potential schedule problems. Delegation is all well and good. If you delegate the delivery of a report, though, you should still be there. Remember, the team's activities and their end results, those are your ultimate responsibility. Okay. Number three, this is not advice that's new. Go find the best senior project manager you know and ask them if it's okay if once in a while you just run a situation by them. You just appreciate their input. Tell them it's going to be once in a while. Nobody has a ton of spare time. And yet, most people would love to be able to help, and they feel kind of badly if they have to turn you down, just like you would if somebody asked you. So don't. Just be clear about your level of questioning, your level of request. Is this going to be a little bit of time now and again? Is it going to be a lot of time, but again, only now and again? Or is this going to be some kind of ongoing thing? Let people know up front, not just what you want from them, but why you're asking them, that person. Okay. So, one, be very clear about where your projects stand in the overall priority of the organization's strategy. Two, make sure that you manage not just the project, but the relationships with all of your key stakeholders, giving them the opportunity to see how you handle things, to see grace under pressure in action, to see your leadership qualities in action, and demonstrate not just your team's ability to handle things under pressure, but your role in that ability to handle things under pressure. And three, find yourself somebody who can give you solid counsel. Small caveat here. Sometimes you're wrong. And small caveat here. Sometimes you're wrong. And sometimes so is that person you're getting advice from. Because we're all human. Recently, I read an article about a very young chess master, young, 10 years old. And he'd only picked up chess a couple of years ago. And the reporter asked him, "So you win a lot, but how do you feel when you lose?" 10 years old. He said, "If I lose, it's because I've made a mistake and I have something to learn. So I never lose. I always learn." 10 years old. And he said, "If I lose, it is because I have something to learn. I've made a mistake. So I never lose. I always learn." What's that expression? Out of the mouths of babes. So remember, when a mistake is made, and they will be made, what are you going to learn? One mistake shouldn't ruin relationships. And as you know, leadership-driven project management is all about relationships and how you can use the power of relationships and trust to make sure that your team is given the best opportunity of success. So as we go through this journey with these lessons and suggestions, please let us know what you think and please subscribe. We do a lot of videos, but some of them aren't on a regular schedule because something just seems amazing and worth discussing right now. And that'll be completely off schedule. But if you subscribed, you'll know when it gets published. I'm Kimi Hirotsu Zimski, and this video has been brought to you by the Leadership Driven Project Management Initiative. Thank you for joining us.